Hello and welcome back to the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League on the Xbox platform. We're here for round 7 of this 15th season, and we're at the Hungaroring for the Hungarian Grand Prix. My name is Justin, and joining me once again, it's Andy.
Yep, it's good to be here once again. It's a tight, twisty Hungaroring circuit. It's just like Monaco without the barriers, and yeah, hopefully we'll be in for another cracking race. Justin, can the Flying Finn win again, or is anyone going to stop his streak? It's going to be interesting to see over the next wee while, Justin, who can come out on top.
Yeah, he finally got that victory at Silverstone that he's always wanted, of course, his home Grand Prix. It hasn't always treated him well, going all the way back to his debut season of Season 12, but he did finally crack that nut and was able to get that home victory. Made it 13 wins in a row for the Flying Finn. Can he make it number 14? The Hungaroring will help us to find that out as we're on board, or having a look at, rather, the Sauber of Sam F1 LFC. He was first out on track, so he gets the honors of being the first driver to bless our screens on this wonderful day. And it is a beautiful blue sky, kind of clear summer's day, it seems, at the Hungaroring. So it seems, at least for this qualifying session, it'll be dry.
It does look it's going to be a dry one there. Justin, who knows? Maybe we could pop up to the water park up at turn 5 and 6 and go for a splash after qualifying. Wonderful weather for it, so maybe that's something we'll do. But no, it's just a game. It's not real life. But yes, Sam F1 LFC coming out of the final corner, and his first time on the board, a 1:17.5. And Justin, I've had a word with a few of the drivers in the paddock. I've spoke to them all, and they believe the pole time will be into the mid to low 1:16. So the Flying Finn, is he going to be targeting a 1:16.3 or something like that? That would be a special time. I think Evo quoted as saying, I think it was Evo that said a 1:16.1 to a 1:16.3 he thinks the pole would be. A few other drivers saying it'll be a little bit higher than that. So maybe I'll err on the side of caution and say around a 1:16.3, 1:16.4, Justin. But yeah, it's going to be good to see.
Looks like we're on course for that, because as we've seen throughout the course of this season, the drivers seem to find maybe 2 to 4 tenths in their second run. So again, these are the first times that are coming through. Most of the drivers will go out and set 2 times total. We've only got 2 drivers into the 1:16s, and that is Martin and Limitless, as the Flying Finn immediately goes and does that 1:16.3. It is a short lap, so I don't expect there will be as much improvement when the track is a bit more rubbered in later on in this session, but we will see that time come down almost certainly. The Flying Finn will probably better that later in qualifying. If he doesn't, then I would say he's actually going to be in some sort of danger finally of not taking a pole position. But yeah, it's not the longest of tracks, as I mentioned, so I don't know if they'll get down into the 1:15s, but man, that is a really dominant time. Yeah, that's an ominous time of a 1:16.3 right out of the gate.
What, Justin, Martin's going again on these tyres, and he's actually a little bit quicker through that second sector. So is he going to lower the bar and go a little quicker? He is going to go a little quicker, a 1:16.6 for him. But yeah, as you say, Justin, ominous stuff from the Flying Finn, a 1:16.3 straight out of the box on those super soft tyres. And yeah, that is early signs that he means business once again this weekend, and it's going to take something special. Good to see a few cars dipping into the 16s right away. Martin, of course, with that 16.6. The pick of the bunch behind the Flying Finn. Brown, is it P1 or Brown? That's a good effort from him, isn't it, Justin? 16.8.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Master as well, 16.9, and Limitless popping into the 16s as well. But yeah, early days, but the Flying Finn looking pretty strong, as always.
And the Ferrari of NLR Evo rounds the final corner, and he's going to set his first time. It's a 1:16.844, good enough for third quickest so far, as we're about halfway into this qualifying session. So not good enough for the front row, or as it would be the front row. But again, I do expect all of these cars to come in and then go back out and set another time. Let's see if we can go on board. Is Hamilton out? No, Hamilton and Surprise Me not setting times. VSR Simon in the Renault crossing the line now. He's going to go 5th quickest, actually, also dipping into the 1:16. So the top 7 all dipping into the 1:16s, and it is, in fact, about 1.2 seconds from 1st down to 14th. So all of the cars are going to be heading back into the pits. As I mentioned, they'll put on a new set of tires and see if they can go that little bit quicker, which, again, I do expect them to, as the track rubbers in throughout the course of that session. Just historically, we've seen during this season, they tend to find a few tenths or so. So, as I mentioned before, it is a short lap. However, there's a lot of corners crammed into this short lap. 14 corners in what is a very short lap, as I mentioned, Andy.
Extremely tight. It's almost single file through there. it's really difficult to get it right. You know, they all come at you very, very quickly from turn 4 all the way around to turn 11, that middle sector. It's really fun to drive. If you play the game, if you drive it, it's brilliant to drive. But from an overtaking point of view, very, very tricky. And to try and hook a lap up, also very tricky. But the Flying Finn seemingly has no problems whatsoever doing that. And on top at the moment with that 1:16.3. Another thing, strategy could be interesting here. It's not a track, as we've mentioned, for overtaking at times. It can be tough, but strategy could be key around here. It could be a close one between the 1 or a 2 stop. I expect the majority, if not all, will go for that 1 stop. It's just a question if they think they can eke a super soft or do a super soft medium, Justin. That's when I think it's going to be a toss-up between. And obviously the guys outside the top 10, what will they do? Will they feel the need to go softs or mediums and run long into the race? It will be interesting to see how the strategy pans out, but that's certainly something to look for in the race.
Yep, and it looks like actually the Ferrari is preparing to release a car already. Not sure if that is Evo or if that's a Limitless. I believe it's Limitless, actually. It is, in fact, Limitless. He's going to be followed out of the garage, or out of the pit lane, I should say, by the McLaren, and I'm not sure which McLaren that is. It's not Drawmaster, though. Speaking of Drawmaster, he actually did move through to the Pro Draft for the F1 Esports, so he will be joining the likes of the Flying Finn and NLR Evo, and Limitless as well, also going through. He had that incredible race in the wet where he won by a pretty significant margin ahead of Bono House. I've been saying Bono Huis this whole time, but it's Bono House is how the Dutch pronounce it. I'm sure I'm still butchering it, but at least it's better than Huis. But yeah, Alonso so far down in 9th. And that's, I mean, he's been a bit of a talking point for us, I think, this season, Andy. You know, we expect Alonso to be there pressuring his brother because we know he has the pace to be pressuring his brother. So, you know, we have these extremely high standards, and it's just not been that season for Alonso. Again, he won the Singapore Grand Prix. He was the last person to win the race who wasn't named the Flying Finn, and yet, you know, so far only 9th quickest and 8/10 off of his brother's pace. So, I mean, are we being unfair, or are we right to hold him to that kind of standard? Because, again, we know how quick he is.
And isn't it? I mean, obviously in Melbourne he came out fighting and almost won that opening race of the season if it wasn't for his brother outdoing him on that, of course, right, that opening race. And maybe that crushed his hope, crushed his spirit right away, perhaps, because since then he hasn't really featured at the front of the field in a battle for the victory. You know, having a look here, he was 9th in the next race after that, then he was a DNF in Azerbaijan, 4th in Bahrain. He got back in the podium in Spain, but of course his brother ran away with that race, so he was never really in a fight for the victory. 5th last week at Silverstone. I don't know what it is, Justin. I just think maybe other drivers are really racing their game. I mean, not Evo, as always, podium in every race bar one this season where he DNF'd in Bahrain. And Safrais, he's been really, really quick at times, hasn't he, Justin? And maybe that's what it is. Other drivers just raising their game, and Alonso maybe not able to challenge his teammate because of that, his brother because of that. I don't know. Strange one. But I'm sure he'll bounce back, and I'm sure he'll kick on in the second half of the season.
Yeah, you know, you're very right about that. I think that is extremely possible because, again, as we mentioned, Safrais has had a bit of a shocker of a season, you know, kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, we saw kind of hints that he was quick in the past in season 14 and prior, but we never, not this kind of performance, certainly, we never saw from him. It wasn't the best of races at Silverstone. However, I imagine he's going to be looking especially to bounce back. We've been looking at Limitless as he's been getting nicely out of the way for some of the other drivers. I'm not sure. Andy, do you know of anybody that's on a quick lap? Alonso is one? Okay.
Corner.
Okay,
I don't know how quick, but he is in the final corner coming up to the line, and he goes second. And there you go. We were just speaking about him, Justin, and I think you might have been listening in over his team radio. I think you might be tuned into the commentary box, because there you go. He answers the questions and puts himself alongside his brother on that front row. It's a Mercedes lockout as things stand, but it could all change pretty soon, can't it?
Yep, it is looking very good for the Mercedes boys as Alonso appears to be, it looks like he's going to continue on. He does have enough fuel for another lap, so he's definitely going to be starting on this set of tires, so he needs to make sure he doesn't take too much life out of them. Of course, he does have less fuel on board compared to that first lap that he ran, and he's making his way through Sector 2 now into the very kind of Mickey Mouse chicane, very similar to the Circuit de Catalunya, and I think he's lifted, actually. Yep, he has, in fact, lifted, and he's retired from the session. So that's end of the day for, or end of qualifying for STSF1. Alonso, surprised me now, goes quickest of all with a 116.2, but what does the Flying Finn have as he crosses the line? What's it going to be? Oh, it's oh so close to a 115. It's a 116.1. He finds a couple more tenths in this most recent run, and who else are we going to have crossing the line pretty soon here? Martin is just getting out of Sector 1. Evo is making his way into the final corner now, so what does the Ferrari of NLR Evo have in his pocket here as he makes his way out of the corner? DRS open, Limitless is out of the session. He's not going to do any better than 5th quickest, but Evo actually pushes his teammate down to 6th, grabs 3rd quickest so far, but still a lot of times yet to come in, Andy.
TRL Martin's currently on about 2 tenths up on his current best through the first sector. What's he going to do for the sector? He's lost a lot of time. I think he's backed out of it, so that's disappointing. I thought Surprise had maybe just put the cat amongst the pigeons at the top of the timesheet, but unfortunately for him, the Flying Finn had other ideas. They're both in the final part of the lap. TOR Leopard now pops up into 3rd position. Look at that, 116.299, dropping Evo down to 4th. Hamilton's gone 5th, but here comes Surprise round the penultimate corner, turn 13, easy on the throttle, and then he heads out of there into the final corner. All the fans watching on in the grandstand, desperate for someone to topple the Flying Finn, and it's not going to be Surprise because he's back right out of the lap, and I should have seen that earlier. But the Flying Finn, he's going to go and flex his muscles further, isn't he? Oh, he very nearly goes even quicker, Justin. A fraction slower, and a bit like in qualifying yesterday with Daniel Ricciardo. It sets 2 almost identical lap times to show that he is on top.
Yeah, that first lap time that we saw from him would have been good enough for 3rd quickest. Only Surprised Me and TOR Leopard actually able to go quicker than that first time that he initially set. Also, Drawmaster, VSR Simon, both of those guys setting top 10 times, pushing Limitless right down to the very back of the top 10. So he will be starting on those super softs, whereas the likes of EVR Morso, CRL Rosberg, P1R Brown, who, again, we saw feature in the top 5 briefly in qualifying. It's only 13th quickest in the end with a 116.8. But yeah, just 7/10 of a second, actually, from 1st down to 13th. So very, very close in qualifying. This is about as close as we've seen it, I think. Once again, though, very, very tight from, about 4th downwards or 5th downwards. Extremely close in the kind of midfield pack. So we're going to head down to the grid now at the Hungaroring for the 7th round of Season 15 of the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League on the Xbox platform. And I am looking forward to this one, Andy.
It's going to be good, and I think there's something we really need to point out as well, Justin. Look how tight that is. 7 tenths covering them, a Finn on pole by just a tenth. That tells you this is not easy for the Flying Finn. To go and make it 13 wins in a row, he's going for 14. He's had to fight in almost every race this season for those victories. And I know a few people say, oh, it's easy for the Flying Finn, he's cruising out front. Not at all, Justin, and I think it's important that we make that point before the start of this race. He's going for 14 wins, and yeah, that tight field just shows you how tough it is, doesn't it?
Yep, it sure does. Down to the grid we go, and the skies are a little bit overcast as we've got 5 lights. The Flying Finn from pole position with the Toro Rosso of Surprise Me alongside of him. It looks like a good start for both of those guys, and it looks like Surprise Me is maybe actually going to get the inside line on the run down towards turn 1. Not seeing any carbon fiber. A bit of a squeeze in the background there between the Ferrari and the Toro Rosso, but up the inside goes Surprise. Here comes the Ferrari of NLR Evo as well. Leopard getting involved as well too as they come down towards turn 2. Surprise Me in the lead. What can the Ferrari do around the outside with the Mercedes? He's going to get the squeeze. Yep, he gets squeezed out. The Flying Finn holds on to a 2nd place position, but Surprise with the early lead, Andy.
Brilliant start from Surprise. He knows how important that was, especially in a circuit like this. And boy, oh boy, we have a race in our hands, Justin. The Flying Finn has got his work cut out this afternoon. Super start from Surprise. Brake late, aggressive, and through he went. And look at that, Alonso side by side with Evo in the chicane of all places. Incredible stuff. And that's allowed Leopard to get right in the tail as well, Justin. Brilliant start to the race for Surprise. Dream start for him.
Yeah, Limitless gaining a bunch of positions. He's up to 7th after starting from 10th. Had a bit of a tussle, though, with CRL Hamilton, and that's lost him a bit of front wing on that Ferrari, the front right end plate, and that's going to lose him another position, actually, to TRL Martin, who has jumped up into 7th position, so he's gaining positions as well in this race. TOR Leopard, actually, is the one that's lost out the most out of the top 5, and it looks like Limitless is, in fact, going to come into the pits for what is a very, very early stop. I'm not sure if he's going to go onto the mediums or if he's going to switch to his 2-stop strategy, but moving on board with Alonso, who again started from 6th up to 3rd ahead of Evo, and he's going to hold that inside line into turn 1. So it is 2 Mercedes in the top 3, but neither of them is leading the race, Andy.
Brilliant stuff. Great action. Look at Evo round the outside. He goes of Alonso. It is a corner where you can go round the outside, give yourself the inside for turn 3, and that's exactly what Evo's trying. But Alonso, with the high ground, holds that 3rd place. Exciting start to the Grand Prix. Interestingly, further down the field, there was a mixture outside the top 10 of tyre choice. One man, CRL Rosberg, has gone for the mediums. Reynolds, Murso, both went for the soft compounds. We'll see how that works out for them. Does that tell you that the guys going for softs want to try and eke it out onto the supers later on? And that's indication of what the guys at the front are going to do as we lose Limitless from the Grand Prix. He's parking up at the right-hand side of the road, that wing damage. And it has to be said, Justin, he had a great week last week, great performance, followed it up from the esports, and unfortunately that has not continued for him.
Maybe it was a bit too much partying with his girlfriend, a bit too much champagne after getting through on the esports, and maybe not quite enough practice for Hungary, but we are going to lose JD early in the race, lap 1 again. That contact lost in the front wing. He came into the pits and surprised me with the fastest lap of the race as we start lap 3. DRS active now, and again, the skies are looking pretty ominous. Evo, though, with the slipstream on the Mercedes, goes around the outside of STSF1 Alonso. Can he hold it there? He'll get the inside line for turn 2, but no, the Mercedes closes the door. He'll have to switch over to the right-hand side. Alonso goes defensive down towards the left-hander, and Evo tries it again around the outside. It's not really worked out for him, and he's got to be careful, actually, because both of the Williams are right behind him with TOR Leopard keen to get back into the position where he started, which was in 3rd, of course, but Evo not able to find a way. Once again, he finds himself stuck behind a Mercedes, except this time it's not the Flying Finn, it's actually Alonso who is stuck, or who is ahead of the Ferrari, and through the chicane they go as we got a quick shot there of the battle for the lead, and then it's a 3-second gap, so it seems surprised me, and the Flying Finn starting to break away a little bit already.
And is this the day that the Flying Finn's run comes to an end and surprise me? A new star is born. I certainly hope so for him. I mean, it'd be brilliant to finally get that victory against such a strong field. And remember, surprise me, is extremely young. I think he's only about 14 or 15 years old. So
he's not 16.
He's 16, is he?
No, he's younger than 16. He's not old enough for the esports. That's the only reason he didn't partake.
Well, there you go. I mean, that is a start of the future, folks. Esports, he is the next man to watch for. And look at that, 120.1, further showing the pace he's got. And the Flying Finn has got his work cut out. Meanwhile, his brother has his work out cutting, defending from Evo. As Evo goes round the outside into turn 1. He's been rehearsing this the last few laps. But unfortunately, he cannot find a way through as they run down the hill towards turn 2. And Alonso clinging on. I think we should also note, Justin, TOR Leopard, very, very handy around this Hungaroring circuit. I was watching a different league race during the week where him and Flying Finn were doing battle all race long, and he seems like quite a quick driver around this Hungaroring, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Leopard fighting for the podium later on, and he's certainly in that battle at the moment.
I tell you, sometimes riding on board with the cars through this Hungaroring, you get the feeling that you're on one of those water park rides that are not that far away from the circuit, because it has that feel of something that was almost built to be entertaining rather than good for overtaking, which I think in fact might be the case. But Evo losing a little bit of time to Alonso through that high-speed right-hander at turn 11 and into the hard braking zone of turn 12, closes back up a little bit. Now he'll have the very long left-hander of turn 13, followed by the very long right-hander of turn 14. Not a very fast corner, though, so you don't pick up too much dirty air, at least not through the left-hander. Coming out of the right-hander, maybe getting a bit of understeer coming out of there, but the DRS active now for the Ferrari of NLR Evo. He's closing in on Alonso. Can he get close enough? I think they're going to be into the braking zone by the time, yeah, and he was not quite close enough. A bit of a lockup, it seems, as well, too, for Evo, but he'll get the DRS once again active now on the rundown towards turn 2, but I don't think, again, he's going to be just that little bit too far back. And again, he's also got those Williams cars snapping at his heels. Hamilton seems very quick, as well as Leopard. Martin as well, too. It shouldn't be, you shouldn't say anything too bad about him, because he is right on those heels as well, too. Drawmaster, again, a recent, oh gosh, and I was just speaking well of TRL Martin, and then he ends up with a 3-second penalty. That is certainly not going to do him any favors in this very tight battle.
Commentator's curse, Justin.
Got him good.
Yeah, Martin, 3-second time penalty there. That's unfortunate for him. And it's actually quite interesting. I looked at 3 little battles going on track. You got the front 2 out front battling for the win. Then Alonso, the cork and the champagne bottle all the way down to Drawmaster. Then another 3 or 4 seconds back to Rosberg on those medium tyres with a big train behind him. So we've got 3 separate groups all battling. The 2 leaders, then a group from 3rd down to 8th, and then a group from 9th down to 15th, Justin. Quite entertaining, but no major moves yet. But Evo certainly looks hungry, ready to make a move. He's fed up, really, looking at the back of other cars during these races, isn't he? He wants a chance to fight for victory, and there's always someone getting in his way. But here we go, down towards turn 1. Alonso defends the inside yet again. Evo trying the outside once again. Can he finally make it stick? He's got himself further alongside on the exit. This will give him a chance. DRS, slight contact between NLR Evo, the German, is going to complete the move. Still side by side they go.
Oh!
Contact between them, and Evo off the road, and that allows Leopard through, and allows Hamilton through.
Sorry, we lost you for a second there, Andy, the last moments there, but yeah, incredibly tense stuff there, and that's really unfortunate for Evo. That contact coming out of turn 3 really sends him down the field. He's down into 6th position. He's being hounded by TRL Martin, who, remember, has that 3-second time penalty as well. Drawmaster in hot pursuit as well. CRL Rosberg on the medium compound tires now leading that pack just inside the top 10 in 9th position, with Pinecone now up into 10th. He started from 15th. The Haas driver having a good day so far, already up into the points as we come to the end of lap 6 here. Still just half a second between Surprise Me and the Flying Finn. Alonso leading this group as they come out of the final corner once again. DRS active for NLR Evo. Can he make anything happen here on CRL Hamilton? He's now stuck behind the 2 Williams cars that he was originally ahead of, and it does not look like he's going to make anything happen with Hamilton. He had a little look-see. Couldn't quite make anything happen, though. Coming out of the corner, though, can he make anything happen? No. It looks like Hamilton's just about going to hold the Ferrari off, but no, he goes up the inside. Evo up the inside on CRL Hamilton at the inside of turn 2. It looks like he's just about going to hold that line on the Williams, and he is going to take that 5th place position. Incredible stuff from the Ferrari driver. We're not used to really seeing him go on the attack too much, Andy, but that was very offensive there.
Well, there you go, Justin. That just shows the frustration was mounting, and it was about to boil over, and Evo wasn't sitting behind cars any longer. Up the inside he went, and through he went. Decisive manoeuvre on CRL Hamilton, who's lucky he's seen it coming, and Evo moves back up into 5th place. And can he now get back onto the tail of the other Williams of TOR Leopard and try and make a move? But Leopard is not going to be an easy man to overtake around the Hungaroring. He really does love it around here, Justin, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets himself onto the podium this afternoon.
Yeah,
very good start to this. Really enjoying it.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if Leopard gets past Alonso, which of course was what Evo was unable to do after that incident. I'm not going to say anything about that one because I would need to see a replay and possibly some onboards of that to make a final decision, as Evo picks up the slipstream and the DRS on Leopard here, but it looks like Leopard's going to get enough of that same medicine off of Alonso in order to keep the Ferrari behind. He misses his apex by a pretty significant amount, though. He's going to have to go defensive into turn 2 from the Ferrari of Evo, who will have to go around the outside here. It's a very long left-hander, but if he could do it, he'll get the inside line for this right-hander at turn 3. It looks like he's just about done it. Still side-by-side coming out of the corner. Leopard will have the inside line, climbing up the hill now for the high-speed turn 4, and Leopard does, in fact, hold on to 4th place position. And I have a feeling that Evo maybe just backed off a little bit on that one. I don't think he was super interested in going side-by-side into turn 4, which can be very scary. It's a very, very fast left-hander with kind of a blind apex as well, too. It's really not a side-by-side corner. And I just got that feeling that Evo kind of wanted to avoid that battle into that specific corner.
Yeah, he's a wise man, Evo, but he's certainly feeling racy today, Justin. I don't know what he's had for breakfast, but he's right up for it. And it's a lovely move on Hamilton, very nearly getting it done on Leopard as well. But out in front, Flying Finn still hustling and harrowing the back of Surprise Me. I actually was riding on board into turn 2 on the previous lap. Surprise, a little walk up into that second corner. Gave Flying Finn a little sniff at his rear, but unfortunately there was no way through. So at the front, still unchanged. Surprise leading, Flying Finn in second. But an almighty battle developing behind, Justin, isn't it?
Yeah, Evo with a pretty good exit, it seemed, out of that final corner, but Leopard with just an even better exit. The DRS opens once again for the run down towards turn 2. I don't think any of these guys are going to be close enough to make anything happen. Drawmaster really seems to be the one with the closest gap to TRL Martin in 7th position. All 5 of these guys running just nose to tail pretty much. Excuse me, 6. All 6 of these guys running pretty much nose to tail. I'll go on board. I've been on board pretty much that entire time with Evo, but I'll go on board with Drawmaster just so you guys can, the viewers can get the full effect of just what is going on here. These 6 drivers are just all running there's such similar pace, and that's exactly what we like seeing in AOR, in these races, in sim racing in general. The pace difference between these guys is so negligible. Drawmaster with a good run out of that last corner, but it's not going to be enough to actually put him alongside the Renault of TRL Martin. Remember, Martin with a 3-second time penalty. I'm not sure which of these drivers, if any of them, actually have a 3-second time penalty other than Martin. He's the only one that I remember seeing pop up. But, oh, it's looking very close for Evo. That. Yeah, he's practically pushing Leopard through the penultimate corner. Takes a very, very wide entrance and an extremely late apex out of the final corner. This is a good run for the Ferrari driver. He's going to line up Leopard here. Is he going to take the inside line? Is Leopard going to go defensive? He does feel the need to go defensive. Evo will have to go around the outside, but more than likely, he's going to try and set up the Williams driver for turn 2 rather than doing the overtake here. He gets the DRS, but Leopard with a better exit. Looks like he's just about going to hold on. Does he go defensive again, though? Because, of course, that was where Evo nearly made the move on Alonso, was with that inside lunge at turn 2. And Leopard, of course, had a great view of that move. So maybe the Williams driver just a little wise already to Evo's tricks.
That was awesome from Evo. I actually quite liked that there. He was superb, so wise through that final corner. I really did think he was going to get that move down into turn 1. He was slingshotted out of there, got on the throttle nice and early, but unfortunately nowhere near close enough. And of course, with Leopard forgetting a bit of DRS for the car in front, it does not make it easy. But what is going on with Alonso? Once again, he's holding everyone up here. Look at this, 6 cars all in a line, and his pace just he's unable to match his brother, unable to match Surprise. And as we touched on in qualifying, that's what it is, Justin. It's the likes of Surprise raising their game. That's why Alonso can't take it to his brother, because he's fighting with so many other drivers that have also risen their game. And but it's so competitive these days, isn't it? I mean, look at this. 6 cars all on the line, battling hard. And it's a great treat for us as CRL Hamilton has made the first call for the pits, Justin, it seems. And I am interested to know what tyre he goes for. Is it the soft or is it the medium? Does he think he can take the softs to the end? Well, if they're going this far, I think he might just do that. So what's he going to do? Is it mediums? Is it softs? It is mediums. So there you go. He's going to go mediums to the end of the race, Justin. And I think, stay out there on those super softs, the more chance you could go on to the softs. So we'll keep an eye on that one. See what everyone else does.
Yeah, so we'll do a 25-lap stint on the mediums, which I imagine shouldn't be too difficult. Once again, having a look at Evo in 5th position as he's pressuring TOR Leopard, but not actually able to make anything happen against the Williams driver just yet. After making that pretty early overtake on CRL Hamilton, it looked pretty easy for him. VSR Simon now picking up a 3-second time penalty, so that is 3-second time penalties for both Renault drivers, so that has got to be really frustrating for the French outfit. Oh, and a 3-second time penalty for CRL Hamilton as well, who is again the first of the drivers in this 6-car battle for 3rd position to dive into the pits, and that is unfortunate for him. It'll be also curious to see if he can actually gain time compared to, I'm not sure what kind of life is left on these super soft.
We got a crash, Justin. Oh, we got Morso
Reynolds.
And Reynolds.
Yeah.
Oh, that was silly. That was silly from Reynolds. Morso had a look up the inside of Reynolds down at turn 12. It was never on, and Reynolds closed the door. He went round for a spin. Morso tapped him, and then Reynolds with a rather silly decision to come back across the track, and I think he wiped the front wing off Simon, didn't he? Yeah, he did. So, a bit clumsy all round there from the 3 of them, or from the 2 of them at least.
Yep. Yeah, I just caught the end of that, of what happened to AOR Reynolds, which the end result was eventually him spinning around, and then even when he was trying to get going again, another spin, so he's going to drop right down to the back of this race. So it's actually been a bit of a shocker for both of the Force Indias as they now find themselves in 14th and 15th position. Meanwhile, STSF1 Alonso keeps holding position ahead of Evo, with Martin and Rosberg Martin not that far behind. Rosberg will not have to stop anytime soon, though, because again, he was the only driver, if I remember correctly, to start on the mediums. Yes, that's right. Yeah, so Rosberg's going to be out there for quite a while. I would imagine till at least lap 21, lap 22. If you could do 12 laps on a set of super softs at the beginning, then I would imagine you can do maybe 15 at the end. So we may see Rosberg come in like lap 20 or so and fit a set of the super softs, or we may even see him come in before that and fit a set of the softs. He finds himself in a pretty decent position at the moment, really, all things considered. And Alonso and Evo both into the pits.
They're both into the pits. I wonder who will win that battle on the way in. Is it close on the way into the pits? It probably would be. And is Evo going to be ahead? Yes, he is. Just remains ahead of Evo, and the frustration continues to mount for him. So unfortunately there for Evo, unable to get the jump in the stops. And look at that, a difference in strategy. That's Alonso onto a set of the softs, and Evo went for the mediums. And not only that, CRL Hamilton, with that early stop for mediums, has jumped them both, Justin.
Yeah, TOR Leopard as well, too. Leopard and Hamilton are both ahead of Evo and Alonso. So this has really shaken things up. Drawmaster has not come out ahead, though. So Drawmaster, who our viewers will remember was at the tail end of that battle for the final podium position, he's come out on a set of soft tires, but still at the tail end of that final podium position. So his position hasn't improved really in all of that. Evo and Alonso have lost out, whereas the Williams cars of CRL Hamilton and TOR Leopard have done quite well. EVR more so, yeah.
Big factor for the victory here. Surprise is pitted and he's behind Sam. He's stuck behind him on his outlap, and Finn
sure is
in the pits. There is a real possibility the Flying Finn could get the jump he needs here to crush Surprise hopes. Let's have a look at this. Surprise has went for mediums. Flying Finn has went for the soft compound tyre. Who is going to be ahead on the pit exit? This could decide who wins this Grand Prix. Where is Surprise? He's just a bit ahead. He's ahead, and he's also ahead of Sam as well into turn one. So thankfully, it all worked out okay. I don't know why the Flying Finn is so far back, though. Has he had a mistake on his in-lap or something?
I'm not sure. There is legitimately too much stuff going on for two people to know everything that's happening in this race. I'm going to go ahead and admit that right now. But surprise me now with a pretty comfortable lead of over 3 seconds to the Flying Finn, who again has won the last 14 consecutive races here at Apex Online Racing for the Xbox League, and it looks like that run may finally come to an end today. Now, we're not even halfway distance into this race, so I certainly don't want to put the commentator's curse on this young man here. Surprised me driving in the Toro Rosso, but he might be picking up his first victory in the F1 League of Apex Online Racing Hype Energy on the Xbox One League. So again, I don't want to say anything that could jeopardize that, but I am pulling for him as he's closed right up to the back of Pinecone. He needs to be very careful here. Pinecone is on 14 lap old super softs, but he does dive into the pits, does the equally young Haas driver of Pinecone, and surprise me continues on and takes second position in this race. Flying Finn regains third as CRL Rosberg again started on the medium tires, yet to come into the pits, and it is his teammate, however, surprise me, who is closing up on him. Now, we don't typically see team orders or anything like that, but at the same time, you know, teams want to win the team championship. It is a secondary desire to winning the drivers' championship, of course, but I don't think Rosberg is going to hold up surprise me, and he may or may not fight with the Flying Finn a little bit. I'm not really sure about that. In fact, I think we've been in this situation once before this season, and Rosberg actually didn't hold anybody up. He didn't help Surprise. So we may find out that it'll be the exact opposite case, but Surprise Me is understandably closing up on his teammate at quite a rate of knots with these fresh tires.
It's this interesting dilemma, Justin. I think it was China, actually, where it happened, where he didn't have any idea or any interest in getting defensive for those two. But be helpful for Surprise. It would be extremely helpful because the Flying Finn fitted softs, Surprise fitted mediums. So he really, really could do with the help from his teammate. But as you say, Justin, that's not really anything worth fighting for. And look at that. Through goes Surprise on Rosberg. But will Rosberg fight Finn as Finn flexes his muscles on the soft compound? There you go. Fastest lap, 1:19.6. And watch the gap and the times begin to tumble. This is going to be a thrilling finale to this race. And I said it at the top of the show. I mean, taking happens a lot, but strategy can really throw a curveball, and that's exactly what we're getting here. We've got a mixture of cars going for mediums and a mixture of them going for the softs, and that's what we like to see, Justin, isn't it?
Yep. We have 4 in the top 10 on mediums, 6 of them on the softs. Tyrrell Martin and Drawmaster side by side. Martin up the inside of turn 2, and he does get the better of the McLaren, and he'll move up into 8th position, relegating Drawmaster down into 9th position. And again, just to emphasize just how competitive AOR is. Again, Drawmaster is competing in the F1 esports, and he's actually going to he's going to be going to the pro draft. He's already qualified for the pro draft as well, and is battling it out for the lower points paying positions right now. So again, that just shows how difficult it is. Another 3-second time penalty for the Renault of VSR McLaren. That's VSR Simon. That's at least 6 seconds, and he's in 14th. So yeah, a bit of a day to forget for that Renault driver today.
9, I think I had one even before that, Justin, but here we go. Flying Finn on Rosberg, and Rosberg, is that defensive or is that a move to the side? That's defending, I think, and the Flying Finn is going to have his work cut out. Can he do it around the outside? It's very important that he gets it done, and there you go. He does find a way past Rosberg. Rosberg, to be fair to him, I think he tried to defend that one, but when you're on tyres that old against the Flying Finn on fresh softs, there's nothing you can do, and the Flying Finn flies past him, and that will crush Surprise heart a little bit. He's going to have to dig even deeper to get a result from this Grand Prix, but at the moment he has the track position, and on a track like this where it's tough to overtake, he remains the favourite. But we keep doubting the Flying Finn. I certainly do. I doubted him in Baku whether he would win. There was doubts about in Australia whether he could win, and he ended up snatching those wins from the other drivers and crushing all their hope, Justin. So is he about to do it once again to Surprise? And yeah, a lot of neutrals watching probably hope not. I'm not going to lie.
And Rosberg doing a fantastic job. I think he did exactly what he needed to do there. He forced the Flying Finn to go side by side into turn 1. He compromised his exit out of the corner on the rundown towards turn 2, which is one of the longest full throttle sections of this track, with so little full throttle of this track. It's corner after corner after corner. And I think Rosberg did his best. He did whatever he could for his teammate, and it's now a 1.3 second gap between the Flying Finn and Surprise Me as we're approaching the halfway distance on this race. And I think the Flying Finn knows that it is crucial that he gets by now, because really he needs to be taking advantage of these soft compound tires. He needs to get ahead of Surprise Me, and then he needs to build a gap, because those tires are going to be feeling a lot worse towards the end of the race compared to the mediums.
Contact between Hamilton and Drawmaster on the exit of turn 1 there, Justin. I think they just locked wheels on the exit of the corner, and they just had a little slide off the racetrack. Thankfully, I do not think any damage has been done. They both locked wheels big time there, and the two of them were kind of spat off the racetrack, but thankfully they continue on their way. Positions remain the same as well. It was Hamilton 8th and Drawmaster 9th, I think, before that happened. So yeah, positions remaining the same, Justin.
Yep, yeah, no change of position there. Hamilton stays ahead of Drawmaster for now, but we'll keep an eye on that one. That's another interesting battle, because of course it has to do with the mediums versus the softs. So we'll see how that one develops. Moving back up to the front, though, the Flying Finn is oh so close to within DRS range of the Toro Rosso of the Flying Finn, or Surprise Me, excuse me. He can't quite get within. No, he does. He does just about sneak within 1 second of the Toro Rosso. Picks up the DRS. That's going to allow him to close in massively. Pick up the slipstream here into turn 1 as well too, and of course he'll get the DRS on the shorter run down towards turn 2 as well as they descend the hill, as Leopard and Rosberg are side by side into turn 1, and it looks like Rosberg is still battling with these mediums. Keep in mind, this Toro Rosso of CRO Rosberg started on these medium tires. They're now 18 and a bit laps old, and he is fighting against the Williams of TR Leopard. I think Leopard is actually going to try. Oh no, I thought he might try to go around the outside of turn 4, but that would have ended in tears, I think. And Rosberg, though, now he's definitely being a team player, because he's really holding up this Williams.
Yeah, he really is holding him up a lot. And I think Rosberg maybe feels later on in this Grand Prix, Justin, I don't know how much of a time he can gain. Maybe it's a bit unrealistic for him to be battling a Leopard and battling later on after his pit stop. But he will be on fresh super softs if he goes long enough, which I think he is going to be. So he could really gain massively on a lot of these cars and come charging back. So maybe that's why he feels the need to fight with the likes of Leopard. But I'm looking at the front here, and the Flying Finn right on the tail of Surprise. But it is tough to overtake. We are in for a thrilling finale to this Grand Prix. I cannot wait for the next 15 laps or so. Buckle up, folks. Fasten your seatbelts. Get people to tune in, because this is going to be an awesome duel between Surprise and the Flying Finn, purely because this is not going to be easy to overtake. His best chance, without doubt, will be into turn 1 as Rosberg finally, after that marathon stint, and you called it, Justin, 15 laps he believes, and 15 laps is exactly what he is going to do to get to the end of the race. And I would think he's going for softs, actually. There you go. He's not going for the supers. There you go.
So he'll be able to push a little bit more. I mean, obviously the softs are pretty strong right now. He's seen just how much quicker they are compared to the mediums. So he feels, and that is something you don't see every day. A 3-second time penalty for Evo. Oh, man. And I mean, if that's not a clear sign of his frustrations at the Hungaroring today, I don't know what is. He finds himself in 5th position, still staring at the back wing of Alonso, the brother of the Flying Finn, still outside of the podium after that incident between the two of them, and now a 3-second time penalty just to add on top of it. VSR Simon at this point, I think, has about a lap's worth of and that is going to be his day run. It's just not working out for him. I don't know if that was a setup problem or what it was for VSR Simon, but mercifully comes to an end, which leaves us with 13 drivers remaining in this Hungarian Grand Prix. It's down to turn 1 for the Mercedes of the Flying Finn. Can he shoot up the inside on the Toro Rosso? Have surprised me with the inside line, but surprised me with the better exit. Looks like he's just about going to hold on to that position. I'm not sure if the Flying Finn actually let him back through, but he's going to go very defensive. The Flying Finn around the outside with the soft compound tires. It looks like he's just about going to edge out the Toro Rosso inside line for turn 3, and that is the lead of this race for the Flying Finn. He's got 14 wins in a row. Can he make it number 15 after taking the lead from Surprise Me? I'm not going to call it just yet, though, Andy, because, again, he's on the softs. Surprise Me's on the medium. We still have more than 14 laps of racing here to go. I'm not ready to call it just yet. Yes, Flying Finn now has track position, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to keep Surprise Me in second place.
I'm not sure, but I have to say that was ruthless at its brilliant best. How ruthless was that? Down the inside into turn 1. Surprise, in my opinion, didn't expect it. I felt he was sleeping. The Flying Finn had to look up the inside, let him know he's there, and Surprise all of a sudden was on the back foot, had to get defensive and right at the outside through turn 2. Again, late braking. And as you've seen already in this race, you can sweep right there on the outside there, get the inside for turn 3, and the Flying Finn is through into the lead. Absolutely brilliant, devastating driving, and Surprise has got his work cut out to get back. But you're absolutely right, Justin. Those softs will begin to wear, and the mediums will come into their own as the race goes on, because it's all about durability for the medium tyres, and there's a long way to go yet. But you have to admire that from the Flying Finn. He knew that. He knew he had to get that move done, and it was absolutely brilliant. Clean cut, bang, move done, up into the lead of the race. Superb.
Not so clean cut for Evo, though, as he mounts another attack into turn 1 on Alonso, but it just didn't quite work out for him. Alonso going defensive, hugging that inside line into turn 1 and holding on to that 4th place position ahead of Evo. Again, Evo with the 3-second time penalty, a very uncharacteristic 3-second time penalty for the German Ferrari driver. Again, he's got to be very frustrated behind Alonso, who you have to say has been having more of the sort of race that you would expect from somebody of his caliber. He has dropped quite a ways off of the lead battle, and in fact, he's dropped quite a ways off of TOR Leopard, who maybe we haven't been talking about. Leopard is having a fantastic race. I mean, this is the kind of race that you talk to your grandchildren about on your deathbed. I mean, Leopard is doing fantastic. He might be on for his first podium in AOR, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he's gotten a podium yet, but Leopard could be on for his first podium. Evo picks up the DRS on Alonso once again, but he's just under half a second back as they cross the start-finish line. I don't think he's going to be close enough. It's a medium-length run at best on the run down towards turn 1 comparatively to other circuits. and it's not worked out for the Ferrari driver on the throttle with the DRS open on the rundown towards turn 2. But again, just not enough road for him to actually make anything happen. Alonso very, very late, missing his apex or taking a very late apex. I'm not sure which. But again, there's just nowhere for Evo to go.
It was very tricky. We've seen that already. But I think maybe Evo needs to try and take a leave out of the Flying Fins book, maybe. Try and just go for it. Send it up the inside. Ask some questions into turn 1. And then try and get the move done in the next couple of corners. I mean, we see Evo is very calculated about his risks. He doesn't take many. But he's now in a situation where he's got a 3-second time penalty. He's currently going to finish 6th. And he's been staring at the back of this Mercedes all race. Surely there comes a point, Justin, where you just have to go for it. Hell for leather. Send one up the inside and hope for the best. But I know Evo's not that kind of driver. The last thing he wants to do is make contact with them, because we know how clean this is. We know how clean and respectful these drivers are. But is there just a time where maybe you just have to go for it, Justin? What do you think?
Yeah, and I think that time is pretty much come and gone for Evo, honestly, at this point. I mean, if he does overtake Alonso, he will pick himself up a couple of extra championship points, but another 3 of those points have slipped away off into the distance in the form of Leopard in the Williams, who again now has an over 5-second gap down to this battle for 4th place position. And again, Evo just not quite close enough to the back of that Mercedes to actually mount an attack into turn 1, and it's the same sort of situation in turn 2. He runs a little bit wide at the exit of the corner. You could see he's just trying something different maybe at this point. And I think visibly you can just see the frustration. Normally such a calm and collected driver, he's making those uncharacteristic mistakes in today's race, and we're just seeing things that we haven't seen from Evo before in the past. He is also on the different tires, though. He is on medium tires. Oh, as Hamilton picks up a 3-second penalty, that's really not going to help him. Tell you who that will help, though, is Pinecone, currently running in 9th position, less than 7/10 down from the Williams and on the soft tires. And now that Hamilton has that penalty, I'd say Pinecone is in a good spot to pick up at least a handful of points or so at the end of today's Hungarian Grand Prix. But focusing more on this battle up at the front, Evo is right up to the back of Alonso, to the point that Alonso has to even stay to the middle of the track heading into the penultimate corner, which is really not an overtaking location. So clearly Alonso is feeling the pressure here.
He really is, and Evo, is he this time going to go for it? See, in the previous lap, he was as close to Alonso as Finn was to Surprise to make a move, and he didn't go for it. Is he going to go for it this time as they approach turn 1? He's going to try the outside. Alonso cleverly defends the inside, and Evo again unable to get alongside. But that's fair enough, because Alonso's defending the inside. It's hard to go for the move, but he's now dancing and weaving all over the back of him, trying into turn 2. But once again, Alonso covers him off. And how many laps? Can we come up with a percentage figure, Justin, of how many laps this season Evo has been looking at the back of a Mercedes car? It must be about 80 or 90%. Oh, dear. He must be fed up looking at Petronas in the back of that wing.
I've got to say that's probably pretty, 80-90%, something like that, because Evo's always involved with the lead cars, aside from, as you mentioned, that Bahrain race, which was a little bit of a weird one. But now actually I am going to say Evo really needs to step on it, because Martin is starting to seem more and more feisty. I've been monitoring that gap between the Renault and the Ferrari, just as I've been monitoring the gap between the Ferrari and the Mercedes, and Martin is getting very, very close to the back of Evo. He's also on the softs, similar to Alonso, but he seems to be making them work a little bit better than the Mercedes does, as he's, again, practically pushing Evo through these corners. He's tucked right underneath that gearbox. He's not going to be able to make anything happen on Evo here. He's about 4/10 back, and of course Evo has the benefit of slipstream and DRS on this run down towards turn 1. He, in fact, the Renault of Martin moving out of that slipstream ever so slightly. So yeah, he's looking pretty feisty here. So if Evo doesn't make something happen soon, then we might see Martin go on the attack, because Martin is less involved in the battle for the championship as well too. It's worth pointing out. So Evo, I think, needs to be concerned about Martin, because Martin is more likely to try something, I would say, here.
He sure is, and that just compounds the misery for Evo. This frustrating afternoon gets worse. He's now going to be blinded in his mirrors by that yellow banana right behind him. So not a good afternoon for Evo, and now Martin ready and waiting to pounce. It certainly seems to me, Justin, like that the super soft to soft compound strategy was slightly quicker. The Flying Fin for me proving that. I mean, okay, we've still got 9 laps for that to be proven, but right now it certainly seems that that was a better strategy than going on to the mediums. I mean, a few of the drivers maybe felt earlier on when there was so many trains, so many battles going on that they could have got an undercut by coming in early and fitting mediums. But I think for the most part, it's backfired for a few of the guys. But I mean, Alonso's still doing a good job of holding these two up, but for how much longer?
And I wondered if Surprise had fitted the mediums because he's on the controller. Oh, and Alonso going very defensive on the rundown towards turn 1. It looks like he's had a shocking exit out of the final corner. That's going to put Evo around the outside at turn 1 on Alonso. A bit of wheel banging between the two of them. Evo is off the track. He's got the DRS, though, and the inside line just about. He's going to sneak that nose up the inside on the Mercedes, but he comes back at him. Oh, damage for Alonso. Evo now with the inside line for turn 3. Surely that's going to be the position. Here comes Martin, though, in the Renault as well. He's going to have the inside line for turn 4. No. Alonso just about holds off Martin, takes a little bit of front wing damage, though, in the process of defending from this man, NLR Evo, who has moved up into 4th place very late in this race. 7.3 seconds now to the Williams of Leopard, who appears is going to be on for his first podium in the AOR F1 League here on the Xbox platform. And Alonso, with that damage, I think he's going to lose this position to Martin. He's got about a 3.5 second gap down to the McLaren of Drawmaster, but I mean, just look at Martin. He is all over the back of Alonso. He smells blood. He might have seen the carbon fiber rip off of that Mercedes. He knows exactly how wounded Alonso is, and he's looking to take advantage of that. Oh man, he's just right on the back of him. Through the final corner they go. He's going to take a late apex here. This will give him a good run onto the start-finish straight. No DRS for Alonso. Surely that means he's a sitting duck against Tyrrell Martin, who swoops back over, takes the inside line on the run down towards turn 1. Late braking for the Renault, and that is P5 for Tyrrell Martin. Oh, or is it? As Alonso comes back at him, but surely with the inside line and the DRS, that will be P5 for Martin, and it is indeed, as he just about squeezes the Mercedes of Alonso and relegates him down into 6th position. And Alonso with a 3-second time penalty just to compound things, which is actually really unfortunate for him because remember, Martin had a 3-second time penalty, which means Alonso may have kept that 5th place if not for that penalty just now.
Evo as well had the penalty, but obviously Evo would probably have got that gap to Alonso. But I mean, what a brilliant move from Martin that was into turn 1. That switchback, that's what I like to see. Inventive stuff. Goes one way, switches to the other. Alonso left with not knowing having any idea where Martin was going, and through he went. Had to defend again into turn 2, but he had the high ground, and I really enjoyed that. Great move from Martin. For me, Justin, move of the race so far.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that one. Let's turn our attention, though, towards the lower points-paying positions. As I mentioned earlier in the race, Pinecone in the Haas is currently running around in 9th position with CRL Hamilton, the esports semi-finalist, I guess you could call him, since he's going to the pro draft. He is just ahead of him by just under 1 second, so he will pick up the DRS. Does Pinecone pick up the DRS? He doesn't, actually, which could put him under threat from Sam F1 LFC, who did have the DRS, which means he'll, of course, have the DRS as well on the rundown towards turn 2. A bit of wheel spin for the Haas of Pinecone up ahead, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough for the Sauber of Sam F1 LFC to actually mount an attack into turn 2. Meanwhile, CRL Rosberg, who again was on a very different strategy, did 20 laps on a set of mediums before eventually coming in to fit this set of softs that are currently on the Toro Rosso, and I believe that means he is actually on the freshest softs out of everybody. I can't think of anybody that would have fresher softs than Rosberg. So, a 3-second penalty for Hamilton. I don't know if that's his 2nd or 3rd or 1st. I'm starting to lose track. Yeah, I appreciate that.
I'll do some count-ups, Justin, and you're streaming. I'll get into the race director and have a look for you. No
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But yeah, Rosberg could potentially be a threat later on. I would expect him to be hounding Pinecone and Sam a little bit more than he is currently, considering how much fresher the softs are on this Toro Rosso. He's really not pressuring them all that much. And in fact, Hamilton has actually broken away. Pinecone has dropped by about half a second off of CRL Hamilton, so he might start to drop back here potentially. But Rosberg now has just under 6 laps to get himself back up into the points. He's less than a second from the points, though, and with the freshest soft tires out of everybody. So I'd give him pretty good odds.
Hold on, I'm just doing some count up. Hamilton's got at least 2 at the moment. I'm just having a look. Hold on. We've got CRL Hamilton, 1, 2. There's one there for Martin, as we know about. Flying Finn got a warning at one point, but no penalty. Evo, of course, as we know, has got one. So what did I say? There, Hamilton 2. There's another one. So is that 3 penalties now? Alonso, as we know, has got one. Rosberg's got one. But there you go.
I don't know if Pinecone has any. I don't think he does. I don't remember seeing Pinecone's name pop up with any 3-second time penalties. So I think young Pinecone, as I like to call him sometimes, I just called him that for the first time ever, but young Pinecone is, I believe, driving a pretty clean race so far, and that could see him pick up a couple of extra points. As I mentioned, he does seem to be dropping off the back of Hamilton, but if Hamilton has 6 seconds worth of penalties, that could be exactly what Pinecone needs to pick up a couple extra points as the checker flag eventually flies at the end of today's Hungarian Grand Prix.
Yeah, actually, I've just looked at Pinecone there. He's not even got a warning to his name, Justin.
Well done. Well done, sir.
Super consistent. He's doing a great job, but he's got Sam right behind him, and he's going for it up the inside into turn 1. Side by side they go, and Sam goes really aggressive. It was just like the Flying Fins lunge, but unfortunately for him, it isn't going to work, and Pinecone clings on. Meanwhile, is that Drawmaster making a move? It isn't him making a move, and Alonso, his wretched race just seems to be continuing as that front wing damage continues to haunt him. And on a track like this, Justin, with so many corners, where you need that front downforce, that bite in the car, and he's got absolutely none, and he's going to get swarmed so much now by Drawmaster, Hamilton, and you know what, even Pinecone and Sam and Rosberg could have a say in that as well come the end. But I mean, you've only got 4 laps left, he might just be able to cling on, but wow, really starting to hot up, and Sam, Rosberg and Pinecone all fighting for those final couple of points at the bottom of the order there, and as Pinecone finally got himself a little bit of a...
Oh, Drawmaster around the outside. Oh, it hasn't quite worked out for him for the right-hander just before the penultimate corner, but he gave it his best shot. Meanwhile, it looks like the Williams of Hamilton getting involved in that battle as well, too. So actually, Cyril Hamilton, who's also going to the Pro Draft, he qualified for the Pro Draft in the same race as STSF1 Alonso, but it looks like he might be relegating him down into 8th position. But again, remember, the Williams with multiple penalties as well, too. So we'll have to see how all that works out. Alonso, of course, though, has a penalty too. I hate this camera angle coming out of turn 1. I can never see what the cars are doing as they head into turn 2, and it looks like it is as they were. And again, I wish it would change the camera angle at an appropriate time so I could see not miss any action. Drawmaster is clearly getting frustrated, though. He's so much quicker than the Mercedes of Alonso. He really just wants to get by. There's another 3-second time penalty for Hamilton. Surely that's going to drop him well outside the points, in fact, at this point.
Drop him outside the points, but and he's going to go up the inside. Drawmaster, what the hell that is? Up the inside at the chicane. Stand up and applaud, folks, if you're watching at home and a commentator. That was sensational stuff. Okay, he might have got himself a penalty for running wide up at turn 4, but you know what? Stuff it. I'm going to send it up the inside at the turn 6 chicane, and that is now my main move of the race, Justin. That was superb stuff.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yes, move of the day, driver of the day. Give this man points just for that. That was incredible. We so rarely see overtakes into that chicane, and so definitively is even more rare to see something where it's just, done. I mean, a lot of times you see side-by-side going into that chicane and somebody goes off the circuit and the other driver takes the position as a result, but, they both took the corner still. That was truly incredible stuff. Meanwhile, Alonso is continuing to struggle. Hamilton is straight up onto the back of him after making that incredible overtake on Drawmaster. What can the Williams do against Alonso? Again, he's got multiple time penalties, so I'm not sure where all of this motivation has suddenly come for Hamilton, but he is straight onto the back of Alonso. These mediums seem to be working really well for him, and I tell you what, if they're working well for him, maybe they'll start working well for Surprise Me. He's almost within DRS range. Oh,
he hit the back of him. Hamilton hit the back of Alonso. I think it may have been a lag spike. Alonso went across the gravel trap, across the chicane, and now Hamilton is released, and Alonso, with dirt in his tyres, has got a massive train behind him, Justin. I don't know if it was lag that caused that, or Hamilton just missed his braking point. Probably lag, because he's continued on his way without letting him go. Incredible scenes in the midfield, and this is what AOR Xbox is all about. Meanwhile, at the front, the gap is almost under a second, but I think it's too late for Surprise. But look at this battle. Alonso 7th, Drawmaster 8th, Pinecone 9th, and Sam in 10th. All for the final few points. What a race. And for me, Justin, This has been my favourite race of the season. I think it's been brilliant. Strategy has been so exciting, and the battles on track as well. So marginal, these overtakes. And look at that! Oh, that's so late from, who's that?
Pinecone.
And he's having a look side by side with Drawmaster now. And Sam, behind that, manages to get involved. We're almost 3 wide in the way into turn 2, and Pinecone has just about held on, has he? Drawmaster in there too, but Pinecone gets it done on Drawmaster and moves up into 8th place. Phenomenal racing from these guys. Brilliant stuff.
Extremely close.
He's 6 tenths behind in the lead. 6 tenths. He's coming, Justin.
Yeah, this is getting very tasty for the lead of the race, and also for 7th. There's big gaps between 2nd and 7th, but for the lead, it is getting very close. DRS is open for the Toro Rosso have surprised me as they start the final lap. White flag this time by. It's the end of the Hungarian Grand Prix. What can Surprise do? This isn't going to really be an overtake opportunity as he's a bit too far back. He does close in pretty significantly onto the back of the Flying Finn. DRS opens once again for the rundown towards turn 2. He's a couple of car lengths back. I don't think he's going to make anything happen here. No, he doesn't. Let's actually switch back to the battle for 7th position. Looking at Alonso, he's got Pinecone directly behind him, now up into 8th position. He's looking to make that into 7th again. Pinecone, one of the few drivers with no penalties whatsoever, so he could make up a number of positions here. He could find himself in 6th after all of this is said and done, so we'll have to see how that shakes out on the rundown. Yeah.
Look at Surprise, Justin.
I'm on him.
Behind him. Incredible. He's right behind him. He's pushing Finn to the limit, but I think his final chance has been and gone.
Right.
And that's why I kind of want to focus on the battle further down, but he's that close to him. This is his final chance here. Down the hill towards turn 12, and he's going to go wide, and that ends it.
Oh, and Hamilton retires. That's a strange one from 6th position. I mean, we knew he had all of those time penalties, and yeah, I went away from this battle because I thought surely the Toro Rosso wouldn't overtake in Sector 2, but he nearly tried to prove us wrong. The Flying Finn defends the inside line pretty aggressively into the final corner, as you would expect. Surprised me with a good exit. He picks up the DRS here as well, too, and it is so close. 44 thousandths of a second between the two of them, and Surprise Me is going to go side by side with the Flying Finn as he picks up his 14th win in a row. Incredible stuff. Meanwhile, Leopard gets his first podium. Evo with a well-deserved 4th place position. Martin looks like he's just about going to come home in 5th place. Alonso is going to maybe hold on to 6th. Pinecone pushing him through. But again, Alonso with the 3-second time penalties here. Will we see Pinecone move up into 6th position? It would be an incredible result for the Haas driver as he crosses the line, and he does move up into 6th position. Drawmaster up into 7th. Sam F1 LFC, who again we haven't seen featured in the points very much, is going to move up into 8th position ahead of Alonso. Incredible finish to that race, and you know, it was a bit of a slow burner start. I mean, a slow burner by AOR standards means, you know, 3 overtakes per lap, but it really towards the end there, Andy, that really became something special.
Awesome, Justin. What a race that was in the closing stages. 400ths separating the two at the finish line after 35 laps. Absolutely incredible. And as I said at the start of the show, if anyone says this is easy for the Flying Finn to go and win, 14 or 15 wins in a row, they're talking absolute rubbish. What a race. What a victory. And there you go. It all came down to making the move when it mattered. All those laps ago, I think it was 14 laps before the end, he got it done, and through he went, and that is the margin he won by. If he didn't do it there and then, he could have been swamped a couple of laps later into the Grand Prix later on, Justin, and there you go. What a race. Flying Finn wins, Surprise 2nd, Leopard 3rd, and yeah.
Incredible.
I mean, who's the driver of the day, Justin? Is it Surprise? Is it Finn?
I mean, look at the times from Pinecone, Drawmaster, and Sam F1 LFC. The 3 of them are separated by about 3.5 tenths of a second. I mean, that is a hell of a way to finish the Hungarian Grand Prix. I mean, that's about as good as it gets. I don't know if I should give driver of the day to Hamilton for the overtake into the chicane, or if I should give it to Surprise Me for finishing within 0.5 tenth of the Flying Finn, or if I should give it to TOR Leopard for getting his first ever podium. I mean, I don't know what to do. I don't know who to give it to.
It's too hard. It's way too hard to call. You know what? We'll throw it to the guys watching in the stream. Who is your driver of the day? I mean, for me, I'm not going to give Hamilton the driver of the day because obviously he had so many penalties, but he crashed. He obviously crashed. But he certainly gets move of the day, possibly even move of the season, Justin. That was ridiculous.
That
What a
was.
move. But driver of the day for me, it's a toss-up between Surprise and Leopard. It is, but I'd probably go Surprise.
Yeah. I think
go
so.
ahead.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's tough. Also, I mean, I didn't even mention the Flying Finn, but I mean, you got to at least consider the Flying Finn for driver of the day after winning his 14th, another record-breaking win from the Flying Finn. He could just continue. Every win he gets now is a record-breaking win. So he makes it 14 races in a row. Can he make it a full season? That's the question mark. Can he win every race from now until Singapore, which is of course the race that he didn't win last season? That will be the interesting thing to find out. But we'll see if we get any drivers into the Discord for that one. But
I hope we do.
whoo!
I hope we do. I hope we do, because that was awesome. I want to hear from everybody in the field, Justin. Have we got an hour? That was awesome. But yeah, the Flying Finn, it's a good. You make a good question there, Justin. Can he go on and win all those races? But someone is going to come up with the answer at some stage, surely. I mean, he's won all these races now. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 races this season so far, right? And in 5 of them, at least 5 of them, he has had to fight for. Maybe even 6, if you include Bahrain, where Surprise was clipping his heels around 3 seconds back. Mm-hmm. But for every other race, he has had to fight tooth and nail to the finish to win. And I feel we have to say this. This is not easy for him by any stretch of the imagination. We need to emphasise that. He's doing a phenomenal job. A phenomenal job to win all these races under that much pressure from the other guys around him. And going into the F1 esports, Justin, he is personally is my favourite for it. He really is. Unbelievable.
Yep, I would have to 100% agree on that one. And we can hear from the man himself. Are you with us, Finn?
All right, guys. Yep.
Hey, congratulations on another win, and possibly your most difficult win so far this season, anyway. I don't know if it was the most difficult out of the last 14, but out of this season, I mean, it's a toss-up with Australia, I guess. That was also a really, really closely fought race, but wow, that was really good stuff. Congratulations on winning that one, because, man, you fought like hell out there.
Thanks, man. Yeah, they've all been hard, man. They've all been hard this season. Besides Spain, thanks to the crowd lockdown bus. But yeah, like every race so far has been pretty hard to win, and that one is probably the hardest, like you said, because I think the super soft medium was a much better strategy, but I had to go for the softs because it was impossible to overtake in that.
Had to try something different.
Yeah, pretty much. And Josh, like, surprised his pace in practice alone was insane. He was the only one to go into the 15s, 15.9 on the console online. It's just incredible, man. And yeah, I mean, like, it's a shame that there can only be one winner because he was just insane today. And like, yeah, GG to him. And like I said before, I expect him to like grab a win this season, not just one, maybe 2 or 3, because yeah, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah. I mean, we were really surprised he didn't grab it here today, because yeah, that was extremely close. And I said, and I would say that I hate to pat myself on the back, but I actually like doing it. So, but I did predict that. I said, even when you got by him, I said, those mediums are going to last a lot better. And I have a feeling that this race is going to resume at the end. And that is exactly what happened. Those mediums just, really holding out that little bit better, just brought him back in and really, really made that final lap. I think if it had been one more lap, I think he would have got you. Honestly, if it had been one, because even coming out of that final corner to cross the line, if that had been, white flag instead of checkered flag, I think he would have gotten you into turn 1. Because yeah, really, really close stuff. Sorry I have to change the subject very briefly though, because Finn, you actually reminded me something. Speaking of Cryo Lockdown and speaking of winners, Cryo Lockdown is actually the winner of the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy contest. Of winning all the hype energy drinks. I was meant to announce that at some point during the broadcast, and I nearly forgot. So thank you for reminding me there, Finn. But Cryo Lockdown actually won that. So good to see it's going to go to somebody who can put it towards putting some more hours into F1, I guess.
Hey, he'll be mixing that with vodka, trust
me. You're probably not wrong.
Probably won't see him at the next race.
Right. Maybe this is all part of somebody else's strategy just to get him a few drinks in. Anyway, but yeah, that was a truly incredible race from the Flying Finn, from Surprise Me, from really the entire field. Leopard, as we mentioned, picking up his first podium of the season as well, too. Finn, your brother Alonso had a very exciting race where I think he was in every position from 3rd right down to 10th or so. So he was all over the place. And yeah, again, you know, really, really close midfield battles, really, really close battles for the lead. It's just been a really incredible season so far.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's. I'm telling you, man. if only, I might even like stream the next practice sessions, because like I just want to show how close he actually is. And yeah, these guys are insane. And like today in practice, for example, I was in party with Martin, Sonach, Surprise, and Hamilton, and I was like 3rd, I think, because Evo and Surprise were just like going much quicker. Same with Martin, and I was starting to think there, you know, I'm losing something. There's something going wrong. Like usually I have some sort of 1/10, 2/10 advantage on these guys in practice, but they were like beating me today, and yeah, no, it was, for me, it was no surprise that Surprise was up there. And yeah, I don't know what more to say, man. The tires were dead at the end. I can tell you that. They were 76%, and yeah, one more lap probably would have been puncture.
Well, but actually, Finn, see when you made the move, the lap you made that move to go on and win the race. Any later, do you think you could have won?
No, it had to be. It had to be that lap. It had to be that lap.
Yeah, we got that feeling.
Yeah, because well, basically, I knew ever since I came out the pits that I had to do 3% a lap on the softs to make them go to the end. And as soon as I came out, I can see, like, you know, like if I don't get past, if I'm always in his dirty air, then I'm gonna lose even more tire wear. So the sooner I got past, the better it would have been for my pace and for my tires. And yeah, it had to be that lap. It had to be.
Wow, absolutely brilliant. I mean, you just keep coming up with the answers. I mean, I said it in the broadcast. I had to say it because obviously people say, oh, as you've said as well, 14 wins, oh, it's easy, but it's not. I mean, you just have to watch that race to know how difficult it is to do that week in, week out. I don't know how you do it. It's incredible. I mean, who's going to stop you? I mean, I think certainly Surprise. I think he's the man. If anyone can do it, he is a rising star, isn't he? I mean, a quick word on him, Finn. I mean, he's incredible for such a young age, isn't he? Is he the next Flying Finn, do you think?
He'll be even better, man. Yeah, trust me. If he switches to the wheel as well, uses talent from the pad to the wheel, he'll be insane. He's only 14 years old and he's doing this already. When I was 14, I don't even know what I was doing. I was going to school and coming back and not really like doing much, like
watching TV.
Yeah, pretty much not achieving what he's achieved so far. So yeah, it definitely 100%. And yeah, I think Leopard as well. He's like 14. So congrats to him as well. Quick shout out to him as well. Congrats on the podium. Probably one of the youngest podium
sitters.
I don't know. Yeah.
Podium sitters.
That's the word.
Yep. Yeah. I think I would agree with that one. I mean, it is a very young crowd these days. I mean, Pinecone as well, who we saw finished in 6th today. He's also very young as well, too. I mean, it's just the nature of racing and sim racing, even more specifically. But it's great to see.
It just shows, really. Like a few years ago, it was Martin, JD, Jason, me, Brendan, like Ciari, all these guys, like 18 or 20 above were just like at the top. But now it's like these youngsters mixing in, and it's great to see, really. It really is. And like, yeah, only 14, man. Wow. Like, give him a few years or even a few months, actually, if you want to call it Surprise. And yeah, definitely. Like, I'm running out of words to describe these guys, but yeah, all I'm gonna say is these wins are not easy. They're really not. And I actually put practice into this one as well. And even with that practice, like, it was just enough to win. So yeah, just a shame. Yeah, I wish Surprise was a bit older so I could see him in esports. But yeah, a few more years and he'll be there.
I think that's what all of us are wishing. But yeah, he'll continue to hone his craft in the meantime with the benefit of Apex Online Racing, where of course he can race people of the caliber of the Flying Finn and all the other great drivers that we saw in today's race. But I do believe that is going to do it for the Hungarian Grand Prix. That was round 7. right? That was round 7. Yeah, that was round 7 of season 15. And we will see you guys next week for round 8. Thanks everybody for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.